All right. Calm down, everybody. I'm here. Welcome to Console Kids Podcast. And I don't know what I'm doing today, but we got P-Dubs in the chat. That's funny, because I wanted to go live, because P-Dubs did an interesting video recently that talked about this idea that Arcade1up could, be bought out, be sold next year. And I wanted to take his 5-minute video and stretch it as much as I possibly could. No. The reason why I'm late, actually, to this live stream is because I was thinking about it, and I was doing some research. I was like, man, Rev was saying that Hatchimals was sold previously, and then P-Dubs was saying it makes sense that Arcade1up would be sold. And then it reminded me 2020, January, CES. I was talking to John off camera. I said to John D, what is the goal with this company? How long are you going to be here? What is the future of this company? He goes, I don't know. It'll probably get bought out in 5 years. And then he was kind of like, well, we've been in business for about 2 years as Arcade1up. But he said when he came on board, at least this is really old information. I guess this is the first time I'm talking about it live. But this is, back in 2020, I recall John D at the time with Arcade1up, he said, probably this is the type of company that will either IPO or it will be sold to another gaming company. I'm here for that time period. That's what I remember him saying. And recently on the previous podcast, we talked about that evidently, John D is no longer with Arcade1up. So some people have speculated that, is it because Arcade1up is going to be bought out by another company? Or you could look at it this way. The CEO, Scott Backratt, he's trying to pose the company to be very attractive. It kind of reminds me of this band Slipknot. So here in Des Moines, where I live, in the mid-90s, there was this small, tiny little band that would, I'd go to their shows and maybe like 2 people were at the show. And then at some point, the Safari Club, which had them play a lot, maybe about 300 people were there. And they had this singer, really nice guy, really cool guy. But he wasn't really, let's just admit it, he wasn't a very good frontman for Slipknot. And it's kind of mean to say that about him. He was a nice guy, I knew him. And even after he had left Slipknot, I had met up with him a few times. And he was kind of like, really regretting not being in Slipknot anymore. But he was kind of this frontman, and he would do these live shows, with the band, and he would like cut himself afterwards, and people were like, that's really weird. And I remember the story was there was some record, people that were trying to sign Slipknot, and it was just kind of like this, like, okay, your band's really cool, but like the lead singer, it's doing kind of some interesting things. That's a little maybe too far for like a record label to get behind. Cutting yourself on stage and blood being shown, it's not very attractive. I don't know, is that a connection with John D, maybe? Like, John D does some weird things. But anyway, I don't believe it was the intent of Slipknot to let go of that singer, but they did get one of the best singers of all time to join their band, who was another local artist in Des Moines. And he became the frontman of Slipknot, and it just kind of happened. He was a really good lyricist and really good singer. And then they got signed. And then they became huge, one of the biggest metal bands of all time. I don't know. Just kind of reminds me of that. It's like, so was John D the type of character that when you try, there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. He did some things in the community that maybe would make the company not look so great, especially if they're trying to be bought out. Maybe that's kind of an issue. Was he let go, or did he leave? Who knows? I've talked to a lot of my friends, and we're even speculating about it. We don't know the exact detail of why John D is no longer with the company. We just know that he's not. Did he leave of his own volition? Did he get fired? Or was there a mutual conversation that's like, your contract's not going to be renewed? We don't know those details. And I've talked to John. He won't tell me those details. It's not really my place to know anyway. But he did say that there's a lot of things that's reason why he's no longer there. So anyway, could it be that Arcade1up is going to be bought out? Here's my question. Who's going to buy Arcade1up, and why would they? Now, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to say, like, who would want to buy Arcade1up? I legit want to know how that industry even works. I'm starting to think about the gaming industry, and I realize I don't know much about the gaming industry. Like I understand the cable TV industry really well. I've been a part of it since about 1999 when I got my first job as a cable guy. And while I was there and working for different companies and then kind of moved up with the company more into management, more into tech, more into sales, I did a lot of different things in the cable industry, and there was writings on the wall that linear television was going to be replaced by internet television. I mean, those discussions were happening in the late 90s, early 2000s. You remember the movie Cable Guy, they even talked about. He's like, you'll be able to do this, talk to your friend in Korea, play Mortal Kombat, all that stuff. People knew that the infrastructure of the entire internet was going to change everything. What Napster, what Winamp, the MP3 did for music was something that was being discovered in the 90s. And then when Napster came out, Metallica did their thing, and then you got, Apple started to make it mainstream that you could buy digital music firsthand, and that took off. The gaming industry has its own story. And I'm a big fan of the gaming industry, but when it comes to cable TV, we knew it was going to be, I remember in the 90s to talk about, like, they're going to break up Ma Bell again. Those were the stories. It's like, there's going to be these big Pac-Man buyouts. And I remember working for different companies, and over the decades, they would talk about what's going to happen is the content is going to be king. And that the people that own all the big content, like your Universal, your Disney, are going to be serving content directly. And I remember when Netflix came out with their streaming service, they even didn't understand it. They called it Spinnaker, no, I can't remember this. They wanted to spin off the company. I don't even remember what it was called. Spinnaker, I think, was a software tool that they made, actually, and they open sourced. But they backtrack on that, and they're like, no, we're going to keep the name Netflix. But even the companies that were, trying to push, through whatever that next step of the cable industry was going to be, which is evidently streaming content online that you pay a subscription for. And even now, the companies are not really understanding what the next decade or 20 years is going to be. Are you going to pay a premium price? Are you going to, are they going to make revenue off of ads? Are the streaming services just going to turn into cable again, where we just replace the infrastructure from an analog to digital to IP? But in the process, here's the interesting thing. In the process, in the cable industry and the streaming services, different companies have been bought out. Different streaming packages have been released, and then their names have changed and morphed and merged. And the market is trying to figure out exactly what the next step is. What is that in the gaming industry? I legit am asking you. So when it comes to Arcade1up being bought out, who would buy them out? What is the gaming industry's plan in the next decade? And where does Arcade1up play a role in any of this? That's what I want to discuss. And I want you guys, I'm going to hand the mic over to you. I'm going to hand the mic over to the live chat right now, because you need to educate me on how the gaming industry works. I know that in this live chat, we have some people that are either experts or think of themselves as experts. I want everyone to put on your expert hat. Even if you may not be an expert, fake it. I'm going to read it because I want to learn. I thought I would hang out with you guys tonight, and I would flip things over, and I'd let you guys do the talking. I'll do the reading, because I really want to know with this topic. Okay, so what's next? What's next with Arcade1up? We're fans of Arcade1up. Is it true that the company is going to get bought out? And what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the home arcade? We know that iArcade went bankrupt, and AtGames, how do they fit in this role? With AtGames coming out with their new 4K products, they're trying to revolutionize, let's say, the home arcade industry by pushing the envelope. And are they going to try to keep that price low? Is that how they are playing the game? Where are we going to see that 4K pinball machine and that 4K, multicade at an affordable price? Or are they going to push it up to $1,000? How does that play into all of this? And who would be the right company to buy out Arcade1up if they were being sold? So let's hear it, guys. So in the live chat, we got some people hanging out. I'm going to jump back a little bit. Why are we talking about the iconic arcade? Are you under NDA? Look, man, on the Super Game Room dudes, you guys talked about the iconic arcade. And you heard my feelings on it. I heard that Jong bought out the iconic arcade already. And he's going to rename it to the Iconic Arcade. He's going to start all over again. But he's got a pretty good deal with GameStop to get these Iconic Arcades out there. So, I mean, that's what I heard. And I'm not under NDA, so I'm just going to say it as it is. But what have you heard, Michael B? That's what I want to know. Damon says he's waiting for me to do a video in the car. I don't know, man. There's a lot of pressure. You kind of set the bar really high when it comes to videos in your car. And I'm not really sure that I could reach that caliber. I don't know if I can do it. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm really nervous about doing my first car fake box review. I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous about it. Ported Dream says the Iconic Arcade will be revolutionary. That's what he thinks. It's going to be revolutionary. Yeah, it's the Iconic. Okay, never has a machine artwork look so fugly through the Atari, though the Atari 50 might give Iconic a run for its money. Yeah, man. So this Iconic Arcade, if you haven't heard about it, let's see, is it the GameStop that has it? I'm trying to look it up. GameStop. Now, people are talking about this, the Iconic Arcade. Is it really iconic, though? Like, how can they get away with just coming out with the Iconic Arcade? I searched for Iconic Arcade, and I'm not finding anything. I don't see anything related to Jong buying the Iconic Arcade. So, and if I can't find it quick enough, then I guess I won't be able to show it off. Yeah, probably shouldn't play a joke and literally search for Iconic Arcade. Yeah. I'm irritated with my search results right now, so perhaps I won't continue on that topic. Let's see. We're going to jump for... Okay, about Time Crisis. Let's talk about Time Crisis for a second, right? So, yeah, the Moronic arcade. So, the teasers are out. Arcade1up, I believe, on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern, is going to be unveiling, well, it's clearly the Time Crisis machine. Michael B. saying, will the Iconic Arcade be in Cleveland? The fans deserve to know, Justin. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I made my comment on the Super Game Room dudes. When I saw the pictures of the Iconic Arcade, it just kind of made me think that I wondered if it's the, the guy that made kind of like you can build your own machine, bring a pie. I think he got a license with Atari. It was the Micro Center machines. Maybe it's the Micro Center guy is partnered. I think it's with GameStop, right? Maybe, but GameStop is weird. They got like a couple different companies, so who knows what they're doing, I thought he was banished to the Phantom Zone after crossing the streams earlier. Yeah, so I did a stream earlier that was a sponsored video by Tulsa Arcades. We'll probably do a giveaway. I'm not sure when we're going to do that giveaway, so stick around, hit that notification. I may go live randomly, and it will be a giveaway of the kit. If you go to Tulsa Arcades, he has a kit for you can turn a Switch into a pinball machine, like a little miniature one. Like you can temporarily put your Switch inside there and add buttons, and it'll connect to your Switch, and you can play pinball games on your Switch through this little kit. I'll be giving that away. I'll pay for the shipping anywhere in the United States, continental United States. And when I go live, turn on some notifications for that. You can turn them off afterwards if you want. I'll go live, and it'll be... I'll try to give, a day's notice. Let me do that. I'll give a day's notice. I'll be like, I'm going live in 24 hours. And it'll be a giveaway. You come in, put in some hashtag, and I'll run a random drawing. and I'll show how I'm gonna do it, to make sure that everyone sees that as you hashtag in, the number will go up. I use a service called StreamYard, and StreamYard has a tool that will look for the keyword that's in the live chat. If it sees the keyword, you'll see the numbers go up. You spin, it randomly picks a person. Whoever that is, reach out to me, and I'll give you, I'll ship you that the pinball. And Tulsa said he's got some other machines or toys or whatever that he would love to partner with me for a giveaway. And it's really difficult for me to say no to that type of sponsorship. I've done sponsorships like that before, where the person says, I want to do this, help you do a giveaway. And it's like, okay, if I say no to that, then you guys miss out. So I'll do that. If someone, gets the product for free, that's really cool. That's what I like to do. If anyone else wants to do any type of sponsorship, I'd love to do that, right? And here's what I would like the sponsorship to be. You say to me that, you want me to talk about your product. If it's a product that I'm interested in and I think the community is interested in, I'll talk about it, and in exchange for a giveaway. I don't want anything else. You don't have to send me money, nothing else. But if you're willing to donate your product to my audience, then I'll talk about it. There you go. I won't do a review. Don't really care about reviews. I don't really enjoy making them. They're a big obligation. But if you have a product you want me to talk about and a giveaway to the audience, that's cool. That's fine, because then people get stuff for free. Let's see. Maybe the condition of the sale to a new company was no John D. It could be bad for the company. So when it comes to, it could be that, I don't know Hobby Hands. I don't know the details. But that speculation, I guess, is possible. This is a good point. Sorry, I don't want to forget where I was at. It's very possible that the whole idea of Arcade1up being sold, and then somehow that's related to the exit of John D. I was leaning towards, if that's true, then it could be something like, they're trimming the fat. They're reducing the amount of executives that they have on their staff, so their operating cost looks a little bit better. Maybe that's the case. I've worked for a startup before, and I left the company but still stayed in touch with a lot of the founders, and they went through that process where they let a lot of people go. Basically, what they did was they trimmed down to only the amount of people necessary to keep the company operating. And so they got that. So then they spent a year, basically in that situation. And then they were in discussions to be bought out, and their numbers and their books looked really good. It was like, look, we have a very, this is how much it costs to run our company, and that number was pretty low, and this is how much profit we have on every month, and this is the assets and technologies that we own. These are the patents we have. This is our portfolio. This is our number of customers. This is our average reoccurring funds. This is our subscriber acquisition cost. All those numbers got shared in the buying process, and then they made an evaluation of what the company was worth, and the company was bought out. And so I remember when that happened on LinkedIn for the company I worked for, there was a number of people a part of their executive staff. Ironically, in this situation, we had a license guy. It was his job. He previously worked for Fox, and it was his job to get licensed with content. People that make content in the TV space. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he did not leave the company because he was part of the deal. Because this guy was very valuable. Because if that guy gets acquired in the process of a buyout and a merger, then what could he do for that next company? So I just thought of that off. It's like that was our John D, and I'm pretty sure he's still at that. He's not there now. He's not at the new place, but he did move over. Anyway, JR with the comment of Arcade1up, maybe? Elon will buy anything. So Arcade1up is going to be bought out by Elon Musk, and they're going to rename it to Arcade1up. Arcade1up. There you go. Team Encoder's going to buy it. Microsoft buys companies and closes them. Less competition. That's an interesting theory. But if that's true in the case of Arcade1up, why would Microsoft buy them? Why would Microsoft buy them just to close them out? I don't know if Arcade1up is really a threat with Microsoft. Kick my router? I need to kick my router? Oh, wow. Is it, the streaming is oh, yeah, right there. It says the streaming current bitrate is a little low. Yeah, I'm not sure what I could do. I'm not streaming on StreamYard right now. I'm streaming through OBS, so I guess I need to reset my router, but if I do that, then everything goes out for like a minute. That would kind of suck, you know? What I'm gonna run over and do that. Yeah, I can see it's a little messed up. Let's try to get through this though. I miss Napster. Yeah. Zohar is buying Arcade1up. Only MK4 cabs going forward. We're gonna have to say. You might say he could afford it. Well, if he cuts back 65% of super chats and the cameos, we'll have just enough in 4 months. There you go. Star Trek said in 2032 there will be no more television. Could Walmart or QVC be the potential buyers? That's pretty interesting. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, now I'm wondering if I should go kick my router. Because, believe it or not, I've done that before. Tons of drop. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to do it. You guys stick around. I'm going to do something crazy right now. If you're watching on the live stream, you're going to see me run, and then I'll be right back because we're going to get through this. I'm going to wait. Now it says excellent. Nope, not going anywhere. I'm power through it. That's right. Stream status says excellent. This stream is healthy. There we go. The stream's current bandwidth. Yeah, we recommend that you stream. Oh, it says I should fix my streaming bitrate though. Should I fix my streaming bitrate? IKEA could buy Arcade1up. It fits right in. That could work. That could work perfectly. I don't think I can like adjust the streaming. Ignore streaming recommendations. Let's see. No, it's not gonna let me. Kick it live. Kick it live. Let's see. I should do. Oh, I have way. No, it says the bit rate should be 4,500. Video bit rate 4,500. Right? Kilobits per second. 45. Yeah, there we go. I'll hit OK. Let's see what happens. All right. Whatever. Okay, let's move on. So IKEA, we've talked about Walmart. We talked about QVC's potential buyers. QVC is not doing so hot, but maybe they're not doing so hot because they need to buy out Arcade1up. It's Xbox. They will buy anything. You know that John is not the only licensor in the world, right? Like, well, there you go. That's good. Microsoft would probably be the ones to do it, and just I'm looking at my. I don't know if this is good. Like, wait, what? No. Oh, the bandwidth is freaking out. Bandwidth is freaking out. No. Okay, that's it. Give me 1 second. Are we back? I think we're back. I think we might be back, actually. All right. That's right. World War III is happening. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully the bandwidth issues have gone away. I like to try different things. I don't know. I have no clue what that is now. Wait. What are we doing? There we go. We're good. Let's see if I can get everything reset. I lost 1 million of you. And now, yeah, there we go. We got everything recovered. I think we're recovering. That's right, Ported Dreams. Thanks. Uh-oh. I got... My custom software is not working. Let's see if I can get that back going again. Give me 1 second. Just give me a second. I got this. See if we can try to get this going. Pop out chat. Boom. Get that autoplay back on. Yep. Show auto chat. Let's see. Can we clear it? Can we clear it? Yeah. Let's see if that works. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Part 2. Okay, so, yeah, I see, there we go. This is the sign. The mid-rolls are working fine. What's happening? Okay. This is upsetting me now. Let's see. I need to refresh the browser when the scene becomes active. Shut down sources when not visible. Boom. That should kick it into gear. There we go. The mid-roll ads are working just fine. Boom. Now the messages are coming back in. Reality almost closed in on itself. Great job, Justin. You saved it. And did I fix anything? Let's see. I lost 17 subscribers. Very good. Looks like I have excellent stream rate. Our stream health is excellent. Look at that. I'm amazing. Iowa in the Tornado Alley. Checked, but no problem right now. Okay. Now we're look good. Video looks great. Okay. There we go. Allegedly, Tommy Tellerico bought Arcade1up and iArcade. That's what's happening. Video looks great. Video is solid now. See, I fixed it. Okay. I am on Texture Support. Console Fanboy Justin says you're buying iArcade. No, I think that was Michael B. A lot of people get confused. See, this is the weirdest thing. A lot of people get confused. I don't know how many times I've explained to people recently. I'll say something and have an opinion. And then someone else in the home arcade scene will say a different thing. And they'll say that I said it. I'm like, I never said that. That's not my opinion. Then there's this guy that messaged me recently on a comment. And he said, you and some other content creator. And then started to explain how bad we are. But then they only mentioned evil, bad things that the other person did. And I wanted to respond and be like, I'm not that other person. And I never did that, ever. You're like describing something negative about me that someone else did to you. But I didn't. Why are you like associating me with that other person and saying that we both did that? That's so weird. I've seen another content creator. He'll do this. He'll talk about, say sweeping remarks about like a whole bunch of content creators, including me, and then list all of the negative things that other people have done, and then says I do those things too. And I'm like, but I don't do those things. You say I do, but I don't. Why you keep on getting me confused with other people? And we just saw it right here live, like quite literally. This fart knocker right here, Damien Deal With It, is telling Console Fanboy that I said that he, Console Fanboy, is buying Arcade1up. I didn't say that. Michael B said that. See? I read what Michael B said. And then you contributed that to me. Those are not my words, you fart knocker. That's right. I said fart knocker. I'm the one who called Damien a fart knocker, and this is what I need you to do. I want all of you guys to go over to Damien Deal With It's videos and call him a fart knocker. Go give him a view. He really needs it. Go to one of his latest videos where he's talking in a car and be like, Justin sent me, you fart knocker. All right? And then tell him to stop repeating incorrect things about me. That's what he does. He's like, all those nasty YouTubers, they buy views, and I don't do that. What are you talking about? Go look at my views. They're not that great. I don't buy them. Some of the people that you love do, though. That's right. If you only knew. You only knew. Bones McCoy says Damien's an idiot. His comments make zero sense, and all of them are anchored by LOL. This dude must have an AOL account. I never said anyone buys views. Oh, really? Really? I'm going to release private messages that you sent to me where you literally said this fool buys views. I'm making stuff up. I think you did, though. But I'm not going to push on it. I'm not going to push on it. You know why? I know you want to turn this entire stream into you, Damien. You literally came into the stream last week, talk about me. We're not going to do that. You're not going to be the new console fanboy. Console fanboy can be console fanboy. You're not the new console fanboy. We're not going to just let you take over streams. All right. Let's see. I think I saw an interesting comment. Yeah. Let's make sure we highlight this. So, thank you, Hobby Hands, for the $2 super chat. It says, we complain about lag, but remember 56K? I remember 56K. And I remember having 56K modems that didn't even actually perform at the full 56K. It was like horrible. You remember those days? I was about 18 years old, 17, 18 years old in Des Moines when the cable industry started coming out with, we had like what, ADSL and DSL and then cable. I was like, that's what I want to do for a living. And that is what I did. 18 years old, for many years, I was coming to people's houses, giving them high-speed internet access. High-speed internet access. And it was amazing. I'd walk into someone's house that had a slow computer, because a lot of people had slow computers back in the day. And they thought by getting a high-speed internet service that would speed up their computer. And sometimes it did. Sometimes it actually gave the illusion that their computer was much faster. I remember having to explain to people that they're like, how do you connect to the internet? I'm like, you don't. You're already connected to the internet. This always on, I would say it's always on. Like, we don't even say those words anymore, but I had to say it's always on to help them understand that they're always on the internet. It was fascinating to be 20 years old and introducing new technologies to people. A quick story of that. A quick story. Maybe I've told this story before. I'll say it quick. But when I was 19 years old and I was installing cable in someone's houses, and I was installing high-speed internet service at this guy's house. His name was also Justin. And he had Winamp on his computer. And he had a Winamp logo as his background. And I was like, this is awesome. This is so cool. I love Winamp. I'm explaining to this guy, I love Winamp. And he goes, really? You like it, huh? You like it? It's like, yeah, I use it all the time on my computer. I love MP3s. I rip all my CDs. I got all these MP3s, and I listen to it through Winamp, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, and he was the Winamp guy. That's right. Worst Jay goes like, it's the Winamp guy story again. But I think it's really cool. Like, in maybe 2000 or something like that, like, I met the Winamp guy. But it was really cool. I was like, how do you make Winamp? Like, it was all new to me. He's like, I'm a software developer. I'm like, what is that? I had no clue. Like, I didn't understand what that was. But then I learned that. And I was like, I want to do that. And I do. That's what I do now. So, like, that was one of the things that needed to happen to kind of get me into that career path. That was one of the things. Let's see. Game Plus says, regardless of the situation between John and Arcade1up, we should feel blessed for the chance of reviving our childhood memories with these mini arcades. Will kids of today say the same in 20 years? It's cool, man. That's a good comment. Very good comment. Yeah, Winamp was awesome. It was really cool. Wife and I had 2 laptops, and I bought 25-foot Ethernet cables, and we hooked up that way. I bought an 802.11b access point and hooked it up for the weekend. After that, I had permission to set up the Wi-Fi. There we go. Very cool. Let's see. Another story, real quick one. Another semi-famous person that I met was, I lived in California, and I was doing Dish Network installation. So this would have been around 2003? 2003? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And this guy had an animation on his desktop. And it was basically a caveman that was like holding a bat. And it looked familiar. I had seen this animation before. And I was like, hey, this animation looks familiar. And he didn't say anything. But then his son was sitting next to me. He's like, what you doing? I was like, oh, I'm installing... Let's see. This must have been high-speed internet. So it wasn't Dish. because I was at the computer. So I think it was when I worked for Roadrunner. So this is 2002. So in 2002, I worked for Roadrunner for a couple months as an installer doing internet. Yeah. And so I think I was in Canyon Country. California, 2002. And I was installing internet service at this guy's house. And it was a caveman animation on his desktop. Like literally you go to his desktop and all the icons for Windows were like kind of in the corner. And in the center was a caveman animation that was on a loop. That's not very common. And I was like, oh, that looks familiar. And then so the son comes over. He's like 10 years old, and he's talking to me. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm installing high-speed internet service for your family. And he goes, you know my dad's famous? And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you see that art on the... He made that. I was like, really? I was like, what's your dad... Who's he work for? And he's like, he works on The Simpsons. I was like, really? And so the dad comes over and I'm showing him, hey, I got your internet working and here's the speed check and all of that stuff. And I was like, hey, your son says you work for The Simpsons. Is that right? He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, tell me about it. What's going on with, what do you do with The Simpsons? He's like, oh, I'm an artist. I'm an animator. It's like, that is so cool. What do you animate? He's like, Bart's tongue. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. You know when Bart, like, laughs and screams and his tongue wobbles? He's like, that's me. That's what I do. I was like, do you do anything else? He's like, oh, we sketch, but mainly I'm the tongue guy. He's like, I do Maggie's tongue a few times, Marge. And I was like, that's so cool. I was like, do you think Simpsons will ever end? And he was like, probably in about 5 years. Boy, was he wrong. And he went on telling me about how he was so certain that The Simpsons was going to end soon. He said, we're going to make a movie. And when we make the movie, then you'll know that's the last year of The Simpsons. After that, that's it. Nope, that was wrong. They did make a movie. And I was thinking, oh, that guy told me, that was going to be the last year. Nope. Simpsons is still around. Anyway. Let's see. Super chat from Console Fanboy. I'm using my software that I don't use very often, but I'm happy that I got the color right. I had to program all of these things where when a super chat comes in, I click on it, and anyway, whatever. It's all CSS or whatever, but based on the super chat value, like all of this, like I had to make sure that the text was a certain way, and then the price was there, and then I added in flags based on whether or not he's like, what's it called? Like a moderator, so that's why he's got the wrench there. Like I literally had to code all that stuff. And anyway, since it's $9.99, it's yellow. And I had to like steal that code from YouTube. Anyway, he says, I'm using the platform to plug my video. It's a video that highlights all of my favorite parts from all of my favorite interviews I've done. I hope spending $10 gets me 1,000 views. I need views. Clearly, Console Fanboy has no problem buying views. But he doesn't want to go to one of those companies like everybody else and just purchase the views from bots. No. He's like, I'm going to do a super chat. A super chat, and then just kind of, that's my marketing tool. And I'll just kind of get you to tell the audience here that you need to go watch. Now, Console Fanboy is currently a sponsor of this channel. He spent $9.99 on this, so I'm gonna sponsor this. I'm gonna shill for Console Fanboy for a second. This does look interesting, to be fair. It's a video that highlights all of Zohar's favorite parts from all the fake interviews he's done. So go check it out. Go check out Console Fanboy's latest video. This concept of, highlights are pretty cool. You get to go watch all the best parts of all of his fake videos. And I have to be full disclosure, Zohar, he's going to hate this. But I gave him this idea. Not to super chat me, but I gave him the idea that, I was like, hey, remember when Weird Al used to do fake interviews? He's like, yeah? And I was like, you should do fake interviews. It'll be hilarious. And I sent him a link to Weird Al doing a fake interview. And I was like, yeah, what you do is it's all in the editing. It's like you go find an interview and then you insert yourself. And he's like, yeah, I got it. And he felt really bad because he was like, I don't like this. You're like telling me how to make a video. And I'm like, no. I'm not telling you how to make a video. You still have to write the jokes. I'm just giving you the formula for a type of video that I think would do well for you. Right? Like, you still have to write the joke. You know, that's your punchline. I'm just giving you the concept. And he ran with it. Now, he says, all my ideas are Justin. I have no brain. That's not true. That's not true. It's not true. You guys saw last show, like, for example, I said, you know, a really good video Console Fanboy could do is the Jerry Maguire. I was like, you know, the scene where Jerry Maguire is like, and he did the video, and it's way better than I was explaining. I just gave him the concept of relating, and the reason why is because I actually think that that is how John D left. I think that John D has a passion for this community, similar to Jerry Maguire's changed passion for, like, what, the football industry or whatever. Like, he wanted to concentrate more on, like, really pleasing customers, you know, not just, like, screwing them over. Coin Worker, you got to understand, right? Like, the relationship I had with Zohar is really unique. Justin says he invented Console Fanboy. Console Fanboy is a Console Kit's, what is it called, Zohar? Like, his name, Console Fanboy, he's a Console Kit's fanboy, right? So it started out as a channel because he loves me so much, you know? So, wait a second. This show is turning into a Zohar show. We can't do that. Stop it. Stop it. You paid, don't super chat again. You got your $9.99 out of me. Right? Okay. Let's get back to the topic, okay? It's a minty, yeah. I'm so good at manipulations. No. If you hate Zohar, you can blame me, because I'm the one who inspired him to become a content creator. Go back to 1UP Weekly. I kept on saying, why isn't Zohar a content creator? It's a conversation that Ralph and I had. He was making content in the chat, and those conversations in the chat at the time were worthy of videos. Where these were the type of topics that a content creator would have fun just kind of, like, exploring. And he reached out to me and was like, I think I want to do it. I'm like, you should. So I was just like, you know, encouraging him to do it. And then what he did, that's his own thing. You know, all his hate video. Okay, we're doing it again. People in the chat, give me your thoughts on Arcade1up getting bought out. Let's go back to the main topic. Go back to the main topic. I spent forever talking about, you know, this and that. Stop it! I'm going to ban Zohar right now. OTG, tell us about Back to the Future. That's right. OTG, in the live chat, watched Back to the Future for the first time yesterday. And now he watched Back to the Future 2, or is going to, whatever. Everyone, it's pretty fantastic. And I don't understand what's going on with my... Give me 1 second. I got, like, double chat or something. If Zohar gets banned, I can't do this. We got to get this show back in line. Someone please help me. We need this chat to be filled with not Zohar. Everyone contribute, please. This show is, I handed the microphone to you. We can't just have Damon and Zohar over here. Thank you. Hobby Hands. I do got to fix this. For some reason, I can see the super chats, but they don't show up on the right. Something with the parsing. I got to work on that. Hobby Hands, $2 super chats. Just stop it. I mean it. Anyone with a peanut? Anyone want a peanut? Okay. What movie is that from? I used to say that as a kid all the time. Stop it. I mean it. Anyone want a peanut? Okay. Hold on. What is that? Stop it. I mean it. Anyone want a peanut? Oh, yeah. Princess Bride, right? Stop it. It's the rhyming. Stop it. I mean it. Does anyone want a peanut? There we go. Constorm, I'm a little out of loop. What's going on, Kindergarten Cop? No, you must destroy your heroes. Zohar must die. Princess Bride. Okay, very good. Andre the Giant. That's right. So I was looking at it. LinkedIn, Tastemakers LLC is a growing global powerhouse with products available in more than 50 countries worldwide, specializing in product development, manufacturing, sales, marketing, and distribution. Tastemakers continues to shine as an industry leader with its unique and on-trend products. Popular brands include Arcade1up, 1UP Collectibles, what is this? I can't remember, the Kaiway Cubes? Is that right? What else? Spy Gear and the Hatchables novelties. So, funding, wait, what? What is this? Funding via, what is this talking about? Debt finance. I don't know what this is. LinkedIn is so weird. I'm looking at the LinkedIn. They don't have any jobs. They're not hiring. They don't have any job opens, at least on LinkedIn. Scott Backrat is the CEO. John Guest is an EVP of Strategic Innovations. Jeff Bartoli. Let's see. We got Philip as a creative director. Are these people that work for Arcade1up? Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm looking at LinkedIn. I'm just really curious. Like, going back to the original question. I don't know who would buy Arcade1up. So far in the chat, the only thing people have said that makes any sense are just retailers. Does this show that, like, we just don't know? Like, you don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting theory, but, like, does it actually make sense? Or do we just not have, like, the knowledge? Okay, Atari? That's interesting. Okay, so that's another theory. So what we're talking about is, instead of Arcade1up being sold to another company that would just produce the same product, we're like, okay, what if it's a retailer? Now you're saying, what if someone like Atari bought them? Okay. My local barcade is buying them out. There you go. So we got Atari. Frank D says, what if John D didn't really leave Arcade1up and Capcom? Oh, wait. What if John D didn't really leave Arcade1up and Capcom bought Arcade1up to get him back? Then the CEO of Capcom shows up on John D's lawn with a boombox. There we go. Here's what I'm thinking. What if you're reminding me of, like, The Office, right? You remember how The Office got sold and then it got bought back, and it was all like a deal of David Wallace trying to, get the company back. And it was like Andy got fired, but he got his job back through the buyout. Is that what's happening? Is John D leave the company so he go work for the company that plans on buying Arcade1up? Is that a scandal? Is that, like, could that happen? Is that legit? And Console Fanboy made a donation in the chat, but I will not be reading it. If you want to read it, you're welcome to in the chat. If I don't read it, it doesn't show up on the stream anyway. So thank you for the donation, Zohar, but I can't. I'm not accepting paid sponsorships from you right now. There we go. Okay, it is funny. Hold on. He says, look up Cyrus. It says absolutely on LinkedIn. It does not. What are you talking about? It was kind of funny. Okay. Widow says, no barcade would buy 1UP. One spilled drink on the particle board would be like dunking a graham cracker in milk. That's interesting. OTG says Alibaba is gonna buy 1UP. Still waiting for Gorf. Yeah, so okay, let's talk about that for a second. So if John D is not with Arcade1up anymore, and one theory is that they don't need him anymore. They don't need someone at the level of John D for the license. They already have a lot of the licenses, and they've already released everything that they plan on re-releasing. And what if they do get sold to someone else? Because now, between the end of the year, their only plan is basically to re-release machines they've already made. Now, that's not entirely true because we're getting the Time Crisis next week. That's a new title. That one's with Namco. I believe that one will be pretty good. What I understand is that Namco did the emulation for the System 22, and they provide from their developers, and they did the same on some previous machines, so the quality should be very good. I have no reason to believe it isn't, but then that emulator is then working with Senden, and the Senden integration on that machine works pretty good. And if you compare it to some of their previous light gun games, you got Buck Hunter, which there's a market for Buck Hunter, but it's not for everybody. And then you add T2, but T2 just had the one game. This is gonna have something like 4 games on it. So, and Point Blank is one of the games that's on the Time Crisis. And really, that game is really fantastic. It's a very fun. We have it at our local arcade, so we like to play Point Blank when I'm there. So it has potential to be a really good cabinet. Now, OTG, which, keep in mind, I'm going to read something that OTG said, that this is his idea. Although it does say Zohar at the end. So AtGames is building the Death Star, according to Zohar. Is that what's happening? Ooh, wait a second. So you guys hear about Michael from iArcade now works for AtGames. So if AtGames is building the Death Star, then did PK get Michael to turn to the dark side? Is that what happened? The new Namco cab needs to be a Galaxian cab. There we go. Yeah, they haven't done a Galaxian. I heard you said AtGames is building a Death Star, Justin. No. I was just reading someone's chat like this. AtGames for life, baby. I didn't say. It's not my words, AtGames for life. It's Carl O's words, AtGames for life. Okay? Please, for the love of God, Zohar, please do not send me anything. I know the reference. Why do you do this all the time, Zohar? Like, you treat me like I'm an idiot. Of course I'm aware of the reference. Stop it. You understand that it's an act, right? When I say, I pretend like I don't understand things. Are you that dense? Everyone in the chat knows that. I literally said on the last stream, which you watched, I said my favorite type of joke is pretending that I'm dumb. Does that make sense? So I pretend that I don't understand things because that's the type of humor I really enjoy. So that means if you... Okay. All right. Of course I get the reference. That's why I was saying it the way that I did. It's because I do get the reference. I was saying that at first I was like, this is OTG's, like, OTG came up with this organically. Because I was trying to make a joke, but then I read, okay, OTG is saying the same joke as me. He's saying that it's actually Zohar that's saying it. So I was trying to read, anyway, whatever. Yeah, I need a graph or a pie chart for this meeting. That's right. I thought you were serious, Justin. Justin, are you playing 3D chess with us? Brain dead idiots? Not you, just Zohar. Zohar's the only brain dead idiot in here. Hold on, give me 1 second. Because now I need to... I'm going to turn off the chat for a second. Going to turn off the chat. You know why? Because then this could be clipped by anybody. I'll even pause this. What I'm about to say is clipped. Look, guys, all of you are idiots. Every single one of you in the chat is idiots. Wait, I did that backwards. Wrong. Zohar is the only idiot in the chat right now. All of the rest of the people in the chat are wonderful human beings. But there's just this one person in the chat that just can't get things through his thick skull. All he does is make contents about jokes, but he himself doesn't even understand humor. I try to say a joke. People in the chat try to take a joke. He doesn't get it because he's the only idiot in this room. That's the truth. That's the facts. This entire home arcade space is filled with beautiful, McDreamy type people that understand humor, that understand what it's like to have fun. We grew up through the 70s, 80s, and 90s playing some of the best games of all times. We're all brilliant, except for this one person named Zohar, who's a thick idiot. Completely. All right. Back to the regular program. Let's get that going. We'll get the chat back on. There you go. There you go. Yes. And let's make it clear, Damien. Those were my words. Those were my words. I did say that. Now he's saying, you never gave me a birthday present last Tuesday. Please let this be my birthday present. Do you remember when I took you to Disneyland? You ungrateful human being. You remember that? Took you, paid for everything. Breakfast, lunch. Now, you needed to pay for your own dinner, but okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. I take offense to that. I'm a terrible human being. I'm sorry, Frank. I didn't know. Look, you have to trust me. I didn't know you were terrible. From now on, Frank D. I will let everyone else know that you're also a complete idiot. I'm sorry. You please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please. Remember when I bought you Mickey Mouse ears and a snow cone? Yes, Porta Dreams. You should have been there. And this moron won't let me show pictures. Hit one in the chat if you would love to see videos of Zohar and I holding hands, running through Disneyland, going through Star Wars Land, and just enjoying every bit of it. Hit one in the chat if you would love to see that. Yes. But guess who's keeping that content from you? Zohar. Do you know why? Because he feels he's a little bit overweight. He doesn't want the community to know that he's gained a few pounds. And so he shoots all of his videos with it shows his face kind of up at an angle, so you can't really see the double chin he's got. No one cares, Zohar. If they love you, they love you. A few pounds, whatever. See? Look, if you show those pictures, you're dead to me. I respect that. Fine. You own the license to all pictures that you're in, that I take. It's fine. Can we please stop talking about Zohar? Please. Someone in the chat, bring up another topic. I'll wait. I want to see topic in the chat. I'm waiting for the word topic to show up on the chat here. Just waiting for it. Topic. There we go. Super Mario Brothers 3. All right, Super Mario Brothers 3 is a fantastic game. One of the reasons why it was so good is because of the development team that was behind it. And what was really cool is when they came out with the Super Nintendo, they actually ported Super Mario Brothers 3 over to that new 16-bit hardware, which was a challenge. They had to recreate a lot of the game logic because the graphics and the capabilities all had to change. Now, what's really cool about that story is once they got the hang of it, they started adding more features. And when they added those features, it turned into Super Mario World. It's really cool. Let's see. Topic. The ALP 4K P. I don't know too much about it other than some pictures that are out there related to what it looks like, the dimensions, the heights. You know, I'm really curious about what hardware it's going to be running, or at least what that hardware is going to be capable of doing on that 4K screen. Whether the games that they will, you know, the pinball games that, or the machines, the tables that they'll have on that machine, how good it will look. Will they actually have the menu be in 4K? Or will it not look very good? Because I've seen that before, where you have a higher resolution panel, and yet when you're in the menu's not running. It's actually sometimes running at 30 frames per second, and sometimes at 720p. You can really tell. Sometimes, like for example, I work on streaming apps, and there's certain hardware partners that we have that although they have a 4K panel, when you're running in their app, you can play video at the 4K resolution, HDR, or whatever. But when you're running just the graphics, you know, through the app, you can't. You're like 24 frames per second at 720p, just because it's like a $150 television. And so as a developer, we have to kind of like build an architecture that allows that to run well with decent animations, even though there's those constraints. So I'm curious how AtGames is going to pull that off. Like, will their hardware have similar limitations, where although you're capable of running some type of emulator that's optimized in 4K with lag, are you going to build your menus in video game technology that's using the graphics engine directly, or are you going to just use, you know, something that's running on the CPU? A lot of them do that. They don't really take advantage of the graphics engine when they're running the actual app. Let's see. Console Fanboy's best video. His best video is his recent one, where he does like a highlight clip reel of all of his best videos. So his best video is the one where he's highlighting all his videos. There we go. Topic on the new iconic arcade cabinet. So I don't know, does anyone in the chat know how much the iconic arcade cabinet is going to cost? Is it going to come with a Pi, or is it going to come with an SBC that's similar to like a Pi 4? I think so. I think this one is like you're bringing your own games. I'm really curious how that works, because will someone like AtGames or Arcade1up be upset with, is it GameStop? Isn't it GameStop that's doing it? Will they be like, hey, you're selling a machine that's maybe violates their agreements on, I don't know, I could be wrong, like maybe there's no agreements, but sometimes people sign contracts that say, look, I'm selling a licensed product that's going to have licensed games on it or licensed content on it, and you know, you're not allowed to sell a game that allows you to sideload ROMs. Like, you could put that in the contract. That's like part of the agreement. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe Arcade1up or AtGames, they go to someone like GameStop and they're like, no, GameStop's calling the shots, you know? But what about like Nintendo? Nintendo sells their games. You don't love me, Justin, just like your rich brother. No, Zohar, the real sad thing is that I do love you more than your rich brother. That's the sad part. Anyway. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about the iconic arcade cabinet to see where it goes. I think I read the spec, or the Super Game Room dudes were talking about it being a 21-inch 16:9. That's a difficult one. So it would be good if you're going to play a lot of 16:9 games. But if it's a 4x3 game that you plan on playing and you don't like stretching, that 21-inch screen is not actually a very big screen now, because the real estate of the 4x3 of where the game's actually going to be played, I think it's probably less than a 17-inch actually, if I understand correctly. I don't know. There's a website, I don't have it handy, where you can put in, if I have a 21-inch screen that's running 16:9, but the aspect ratio, actually, I bet I could ask ChatGPT that right now, because I don't know the website. Let me ask ChatGPT how it works. Do math for me, I'm saying. I have I'll just say TV that is 21 inches and 16:9 aspect ratio. Now, if I play a retro game on it, and that's 4x3, what would the screen size be if I don't stretch? Let's see if it does the math. Sometimes it's really bad at math. Let's see. Therefore, the screen size results will be 16 and 12. Tell me in inches. The math of 4x3 edge to edge. Let's see, what is the diagonal inches size? Come on, give me the size. I'm sorry, I'm not able to access that information. If it were 21 inches, come on, this is so dumb. By 9, but only showing 4x3. What is the size? It gave up. I hate you. It's doing a whole bunch of math that doesn't make any sense. It's like 16.8 is what it is. 16.8 by 12 by 6 is what it says. I don't know. Whatever. I tried. I can't do math like that in my head. Okay. Why don't you think these arcade companies partner up with smaller studios more to release arcade games, cabs of their games, like iArcade did with Dead Cells? I guess maybe the answer would be someone like Arcade1up. They have licensing partners, and I think they're re-releasing older games. That's kind of their niche. You know, it's nostalgia. They're trying to bank on nostalgia. They're banking on these IPs that otherwise, perhaps prior to Arcade1up, weren't really serving any revenue. There's no revenue really for some of these titles. Some of them had some, but I think probably, I wonder what the pitch was from Arcade1up. Maybe it was something like, okay, Nintendo has found a way to monetize some of their older ROMs. Nintendo came up with the NES Classic. Now, the NES Classic is basically running Raspberry Pi 3 technology and old ROMs that weren't really monetized in previously. Like, yes, they had the Wii and the Wii U, and they had different stores where you could purchase these older games, but there was a gap in that monetization pattern. So they come out with the NES Classic, and it kind of revitalizes the retro gaming space and really gets people excited about these retro games again. If you don't think so, I remember being a part of the retro gaming scene, following a lot of content creators and making content myself about the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and how to mod it. And it was this very, very niche group community that a lot of the people in that group that I was chatting with were like, all of this is going away soon. Everything retro is dying. The retro bubble is about to burst. And even then, the retro bubble wasn't even very big. And even the content creators that covered retro gaming at the time, there were some that were big, but there weren't plentiful like today. And they had no clue what was about to happen. The NES Classic really boosts sales for a lot of the other hardware products that were out there. And it was really shocking. I remember talking to some of these hardware producers that they're like, yeah, once the NES Classic is out, everyone's going to buy that. No one's going to buy my NES HDMI mod or the RGB mod or analog products or any of these ways that allow you to play original hardware or FPGA solutions. They're like, we're done. Like, we can't compete with Nintendo. No, their sales went up. Their sales went up because it just got more people interested in the topic. It was really interesting. And so a lot of those content creators doubled down, actually, in their niche. And not really covering NES Classic, but, like, really doubling down on the hardware that they were fascinated with and partnerships that they had with some of these hardware manufacturers to talk about it and podcasts and whatever to kind of get awareness out there that there's these great ways to play these old retro games. And that kind of, I think, happened in a lot of bubbles. A lot of emulation bubbles grew, PlayStation Classic, like being able to hack those, NES Classic, Super Nintendo Classic. It actually just grew everything. And I think Arcade1up grew out of that as well. I think if you were to trace its root back, for a company to like dedicate their entire resources to something like Arcade1up, I mean, even Scott Baccarat said originally that one of the reasons why he even built the product is because he saw like an Atari retro remake at some big box store, which is probably like the AtGames console or something. I'm not sure which manufacturer it was, but that's what inspired the idea. He's like, what about arcade games? What if you could build like a smaller arcade game? And at least that's his story. Some people say that's not the real story. Some people say the real story is that Walmart actually reached out to a whole bunch of manufacturers, and they were the ones that came up with the idea for the 3/4 scale arcade. And they're the ones that went to Namco and was like, we'd love to work with you to build a product. We just need a manufacturer to help do it all. Namco does the emulation. We'll do Pac-Man. That's the big title. And Tastemakers got the contract. Tastemakers worked with Namco to kind of make the Hatchimal of retro arcades at a price that Walmart can dictate, that $2.99. And it was a partnership between all those different companies. That's a story that some people have said. And so, I think that's where we're at. We're in that. But here's the interesting thing. I've always speculated and always wondered, like, is this really the end? A lot of people have said that this is the end of Arcade1up. They're going to be bought. John D's no longer with the company. But I say again, no one knows the future, right? Think back at the NES Classic days. All the people were saying the sky was falling in the retro gaming space and all this bubble was going to burst. It didn't. It grew. You could say all of this is dead, but what if you were to say that, you're actually ignorant? I'm not saying you are ignorant. We also learned earlier Console Fanboy is the only ignorant person in the room. But think about it this way. You don't know. Let me explain it this way. I've talked to some people recently on the phone that I've had disagreements in the past, and we hashed it out. It was an interesting conversation because this person just started saying a whole bunch of things that were just inaccurate about me. He's like, you did this and you said that, and remember back in the day and this happened and that happened. I'm like, dude, those are stories on the internet that never took place. He's like, yeah, well, I remember you saying this and I remember you saying that. I'm like, I never said those things. Go find proof that I ever said any of those things. You're thinking of this content creator. He's the one who said those things. He's like, you were all over Facebook saying this, screaming. You're screaming about this. I'm like, I never post on Facebook. What are you talking about? He's like, no, you were on Twitter and then you blocked me. And I'm like, go look at my Twitter. I didn't block you. Never happened. So sometimes people make assumptions. They get passionate about things. They didn't do the research to figure out whether the story that they heard from someone else was even true. Anyway, I've been thinking about that a lot. Now think about if you think that Arcade1up is going under. You can take that position. But there's variables about that are in the future. They're future variables. Imagine if you're writing code, right? If you guys don't know how code works, it's really simple. Like you create a variable. You're like saying this piece of memory is going to hold the number 1 in it. And this variable is going to hold the number 2 in it. Now I'm going to do some arithmetic. This variable is going to hold this value plus that value. That's it. That's programming. That's all it is. Okay, so all those variables that I just told you, 1, 2, and then the sum of 1 and 2, which is 3. Those are 3 variables. They're all known. They're all known right now. I just wrote a tiny little program in your head. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals A plus B. What is C? C is 3. Okay? because all the numbers are known. But there's another type of technology. It's called an observable. I love observables. They're amazing. You can create a variable that does not yet know its value. It's almost like quantum mechanics. It's like in a superposition. And this is how I've described it when I've done technical talks about it. So A equals 1, B equals 2, and C will always equal the product of A and B, even if A and B changes in the future. I feel like I'm that guy. Remember that movie? He's like, what is it? Frequency. He's like, your boy Tommy thinks he's you in the future. Anyway, I don't remember the line exactly, but remember in the future. Okay, so, but here's another scenario with observability. You can say this variable equals the sum of A and B, but B is not known yet. B is an observable as well, and it has not been set. It's currently set to undefined. A equals 1. B equals unknown variable. C equals the sum of A plus B, which is an unknown variable. So what is C? It's not known. It's not known. Schrodinger's cat, the box has not been opened yet. The cat is both dead and alive at the same time. C is an unknown variable. So is Arcade1up dying? We don't know. There's a ton of variables that are in the future. What is their state right now? They're a company that's coming out with Time Crisis next week. That's not a dead company. One of their state values is John D equals null. No longer with the company. Does that mean they're dying? I don't know. Some of the variables are unknown to us. And so for you to take a position that you know with certainty the outcome of a certain industry, a certain company, that is ignorant. Do you know why? Because you haven't done the data. You haven't time traveled into the future to see if the events of today continue into tomorrow. You don't have a magic 8-ball. You don't have a picture from the future showing you what's going to happen. This is what's happening, right? You see a picture of Arcade1up, and John D's fading away. That's right. He's fading away. But the future, is it bright? I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. The future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one. All of you. All of you. So I'm very curious with the future of Arcade1up. I'm here to observe it. I'm an observable. I'm the one that will get notified. That's observability. There's a publisher, and then there's a subscriber. And someone will publish the information, and we, as a community, are subscribing to that information. I'm talking about coding topics, by the way. If you didn't know, a pub sub model is when you... Anyway, a key piece of observability to be able to know what the future comes is hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that bell for notifications so you too can observe this wild ride, and that is of the retro gaming space. As companies start to buy out different companies and it grows the community, it grows you, the passion, the options that are out there. We had a crazy year. John D is gone. iArcade is gone. What's next? I don't know. But no matter what it is, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. No matter what that future is. So what's next? Like my video says. I don't know, but I'm here to find out. That's what I'm here. Hit a 1 in the chat if you feel the same. You're here to see what happens. No loyalties. I don't care if Arcade1up comes up with the next big product. I don't care if AtGames comes out with the next big product. I don't care if iArcade psychs us and says we're not bankrupt and they come out with the next big product. I don't care if the Chicago gaming company surprises us and re-releases Attack from Mars. If I want it, I'm going to get it. I don't care if Stern comes out with the next big thing. No loyalties, but I'm here to observe it. I'm here to see what's happening. because that's exciting. That's exciting, whatever it is. Just to be here for the story. You know, recently I started getting Audible, and every single month I get to listen to another book. So this last month, I did Bob Iger's book, A Ride of a Lifetime. It's fascinating to hear a man that went through all these different journeys in his life. You know, now he's at the end of his life, and he's the CEO of Disney. And, you know, what's next for him? Who knows? But the story that he has is pretty fascinating. The one I just started listening to is the Steve Jobs. You know, that's a book that I never read, and really am not a... My wife, she reads, like, literally a book a day. Like, she had to get a Kindle when it first came out so we wouldn't go broke, because she just owns so many books, because you just buy books and read them. She's obsessed with reading. She loves reading, and whatever she needs, that's her thing, you know? I'm not that. I'm not that type of person. But I love listening to podcasts, and I'm like, you know what, I should read more books, but I don't have a lot of time. So I listen to books. So that's doing with Audible. But it's fascinating to learn about these people's lives, and it's fascinating to, in the case of Bob Iger, I think most of his story is over. Maybe he's got one more trick up his sleeve. We'll find out. But then with Steve Jobs, that's it. Life is short. And, you know, he died of cancer, and we get to read his story. We can kind of see his company, Apple, still continues, and it's fascinating to hear and see where that company will grow, to see if that brand will continue in 100 years. It'd be kind of cool. Same with Arcade1up, AtGames. I feel like a lot of us were here when this story first broke. The home arcade scene launched. We can get these affordable cabinets, you know, can complain all we want about the video quality, the lag, you know, the different games they do or don't release. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the community. It's all part of the process. Why have I never left this community? A lot of you thought I was going to go the way of Retro Ralph, go the way of Cool Toy, or some of these content creators that are like moved on outside of the scene. I can't. Do you know why? This is a book I'm still reading. This story is fascinating. I'm not just going to close this book at there's still 10 more chapters left. Why wouldn't I be a part of it? Why wouldn't I be an observer in this great story that is Home Arcade? I'm here for the journey. See where it will land. Are you here? I think you're here. Pixel says, if I was Arcade1up, I would say the lag stays true to the time, because that's how it would be if the cab, if it was in the cab at the time. Yeah, I don't know. Those original machines had pretty responsive. If you lag test the comparison of an Arcade1up to the original machines, and you consider that the original machines were zero lag because they are the control, they are the original machine. They had no lag because, I mean, the processors in the original arcades were literally sending data to the CRT like a typewriter to say, draw this exact line. You understand that, right? Like, the actual CRT is drawing like a typewriter with an instruction from the game loop specifically. Some of the games in the early technology, like Atari, had the ability to process at a single line, you know, like 240 lines a second. It could change its mind on the next line. Later, as technology grew, most of the gaming software started working into where it draws an entire frame, you know, in 16 milliseconds, and then spends a few milliseconds calculating the next frame, and then draws the next frame in another 16 milliseconds. That's just how long it takes for the gun to get from the top, like a typewriter, and to write that message to the bottom. And it's done that way because they want to get that at 60 hertz, 16 frames per second. That's 60 hertz. And then because that's works good with the human eye, it's a good variable to run by to get a good perceived amount of motion. And so if you were running Arcade1up against that, it's not doing it in 16 milliseconds. The panel itself is above that 16. It takes an entire 17 milliseconds even to get the information to draw the first frame. And that's not to mention the arcade ROM itself, which has a couple more frames in it itself. So we're probably talking about 50 milliseconds between, maybe some of the systems are around 100 milliseconds. So like Pac-Man's probably the worst. You turn that joystick, I haven't measured it, but maybe I should. I have the tools to be able to do it. I don't have the best tools to do it though. If I had a 1,000 frame per second camera, I think I have a 900 frame per second camera. I could try it on that one. But if you move the joystick, Pac-Man probably moves like 100 milliseconds after it should, compared to the original machine, which could draw Pac-Man moving in exactly the next frame. Because the way it would work is, it would draw the frame, and then it would pull on that input. It would pull, what control are you pressing? You're pressing the left within a snapshot and go, cool, I'm going to animate Pac-Man on the next frame moving in that direction. So it makes that determination after it just finished its last draw. That's just not how the Arcade1up technology is working. It could, and RetroArch has some cool tricks. It runs multiple versions of the game. I think it's not frame skipping, I can't remember. It's like look ahead frame whatever. Like it basically guesses what you're going to do next or something. I don't know. And then we'll draw that and correct. I don't know. There's a lot of cool technologies with RetroArch that I don't think Arcade1up is utilizing. But anyway, yes, I'm ranting. It's done. We're done. The stream is over. Rambling moment. Yes, life is like a box of chocolates. I just listened to console kids tell me about books instead of reading them. There you go. I'll do a review of it. I cried my eyes out. So we're all dog faces. We're all very, very different. But there is one thing that we all have in common. We were all stupid enough to enlist in the arcade army. We're mutants. Well, with that, I'll leave it with that. Except for, I will do one more thing. Because if I don't cut the cake, he's going to scream about it later. Give me 1 second. A super chat from Console Fanboy. He says, I'm getting bored. No one cares about ALP. Please play the Messenger short. It's so funny. Your subscribers want to see it. Don't do them a disservice. Don't do them a disservice. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can pull this up. Please play it, he says.
Meanwhile...
All right. I don't know what you're doing, Console Fanboy. I don't know if I approve of this. I also don't know if this audio is going to come through. Let me check. Let's see.
AtGames is building the Death Star in the background. Meanwhile, in the background, AtGames is building the Death Star. Meanwhile, in the background, AtGames is building the Death Star.
In case you're not aware, AtGames is building the Death Star. Go AtGames.
So that's basically the iArcade news. Meanwhile, AtGames is building the...
Can you shut the f...
Okay, all right. I stopped it there before you hear the swear. Don't do that again, Zohar. So if you don't know, Papa Brad's Gaming has long said that while all this chaos is going on, that AtGames is building the Death Star. What does that mean? That means, and it's probably very true, while there's chaos and noise, and Arcade1up is coming out with all these different machines that some people like, some people don't. iArcade is going out of business. AtGames is under the hood, in the background, building something that can destroy all of them, I think is what the analogy is trying to say. And I think Papa Brad could be right. It's very possible that he's right. They're the only ones that saying we're going to push the technology to 4K. We're going to keep innovating, and we're gonna push forward because we know that's what the customers want. So we'll see. We'll be at Cleveland. Supposedly they're going to be maybe have something ready at Cleveland. I hope you guys are there as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of fun things unveiled, and we'll have a lot of fun. For those of us that are going, we're going to try to go to different arcades, go to the Cleveland Gaming Classic. I'll hang out, have a good time, and hopefully we'll be there to cover some great topics in this story that is Home Arcade. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out. Don't forget to hit like. It just makes me feel better. There's no other reason why you need to hit that like button. I will go back and see, like, if the video has like 100 likes, I'll be like, that's really cool. It means something to me. If it has 300, like, I start to cry. It doesn't really do anything with the algorithm. You've probably heard that. It's just to stroke someone's ego. So if you really love me, you're going to go back to my previous video and hit like on that as well. So thank you guys so much. That's Honest Justin, and we'll see you guys next time.